Swiftsing. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this cool jungle square sweep thing. And if you add in a sample and hold, not a sample and hold, add in a frequency shift. I love these types of sounds. Just a confession. Inspired by Ed Rush and Optical, they have a track where they've got one, I forgot what it's called, but it has this do 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 do. And I was sort of thinking of that while I was making this. And there were some presets in one of the massive things that I really enjoyed. And so this is sort of based on those ideas. But it's a square wave. I keep wanting to say sine for some reason, but it's a square wave that is moving down, and it's a combination of the low pass being turned on and off by an LFO and having the LFO being turned off and then having a sweep at the same time. And the combination of these things, along with the iconic square wave chorusy sound, you get this awesome combination that just sounds really cool for the beginnings of phrases. You have enormous control over the timing of things. For example, if I went into envelope 2 and simply changed the attack, and then if I went into 1 and changed that one, just enormous control. If I went into LFO and changed 2 is also linked up here, but let's just say I just change it a little bit here. That's so cool. If I get rid of the frequency shift. So let's go ahead and back up to the base idea of this. So we know we need a square wave. We know we need it chorused because that's what creates the sound. We have options. So basically we just need to change the pitch of one relative to the other. So we get this cool phasing effect that is iconic to square waves. And I did it 2 ways. I did it with the chorus. I actually messed around with a straight up delay, but it wasn't working out for me. But what I really like is I just run it against itself with a small pitch variation. So that 2 in the voicing tab makes a large difference there. So that accomplishes the square wave texture that I'm looking for. The next thing I need a pitch bend down. So let's go ahead and take our filter and turn it off so that we can observe it without the filter. So that's the sound that it is without the filter movement. And what it is it's a combination of 2 envelopes. It's a combination of envelope 1 and 2. And you see 1 looks like this, but I was changing it a lot. And 2 looks like this. And it's a really interesting deal because of the way it works. So 1 is going down 1 octave, 2 is going down 2 octaves, and I'm able to control the rate, and it forms a ratio. It's kind of complicated to think about, but 1 influences 2, and that's the main takeaway. So another thing to keep in mind here is the attack. The attack level will determine the level of the first pitch bend downwards, and then the decay is like another phase for us that we can go down further, but at a different rate if we should desire, by having a shorter or faster decay. And then our level on the decay will determine the final pitch that we arrive at. And I want to arrive at the 2 octaves below. So I definitely want this to be at the maximum. And you can see here also the decay is at its maximum. So if that doesn't make sense, just put two envelopes here, put them down, 1 down an octave, 1 down 2 octaves, and then begin to mess with the value. And then we could observe if I were to change the level. This is a very fast attack. So you see it speeds up partway through, and that 2-stage speed is because of the envelope. And then we can influence this with 1. So pretty cool, but we get a little more complicated. This is kind of a more advanced patch in this way. We are also using the filter. And the filter, I'm ignoring the modulation oscillator. It's more of a color thing than anything. That's all it is. And oh, actually I turned it off here, so I ended up not using it. But you could experiment with this to get different timbres. But anyways, back to the filter. We have the LFO that is also being influenced by envelope number 2, so the 2 octave envelope. And this 2-stage here is extra important because it's going to influence the rate of our LFO, right? So I know I want this like type of sound of some kind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to control a low pass. Now that I have my sound achieved through the chorus in the voicing tab, I'm going to grab my LFO and attach it, right? And if I don't have a envelope on it, and if I were to mute this one too, it would just continue doing that forever. So it wouldn't sound that great. So I've attached 3 to control the automation of the cutoff. And I had to mess with the values because I got a little confused. I confused myself, which can happen when you're drawing the direction these things should go. But essentially the LFO is going so that envelope 3 will eventually turn the cutoff to its max value. And you see the very long attack eventually coming in and washing it out. While that's going on, in fact, I probably want this a little faster. While that's going on, I have a second envelope, which is envelope 2. So I decided to use envelope 2 twice to control the rate of the LFO as it slows down. And so, well, this causes the LFO to slow down. So we are slowing down. I chose this wave. We could choose a variety. Actually, let's make that longer. That's so awesome. So we have that. Then we have a variety of waves you could pick. But essentially, this is the distance we're going to slow down. And I've said this in most videos where I'm doing sound design with Massive. You got to use your ears hardcore because things that you think would be small moves can sometimes sound enormously enormous. Like the decays, the attacks, for example, around here are like quite average. But then if you go just a little bit further, suddenly they're like doubling in length. Like they get so much longer. It's very unintuitive. So you have to use your ears and fine tune each knob just right, which I guess is sort of the magic of Massive, is it forces you to be way more conscious about all your decisions. You can't rely on the visuals very much. So this is what I ended up settling on. And well, in this particular case, whatever my first one was. So, okay, cool. Now, originally I was working with this sound. And I said, I need to make it a little more, I want to bring out that square texture. So I said, first, I want to use a chorus. And a chorus is available in this tab. So this tab has the tube distortions, and I wanted to keep those available. So I went to FX2 for that, because you see there's no tube distortions. I don't know why, but they're not available there. So I went in here, and these are the settings I settled on. The depth is not very large. The offset is under halfway. So is the rate, and it's even been brought down a little bit. The point of this chorus is it gives you that sound, like the running against itself sound that I wanted. So I was like, okay, cool. I've got my chorus. Now I want to adjust the sound itself. I want to bring out the brightness of it. So what I do is I distort it, and that will bring up the high end. And they have a couple different colors here I messed with. I settled on the Bronner tube, but you might choose the Tele tube or whatever. It's very satisfying messing with these. Then it was a little bright if I take this off. And you hear the low end is like super in my face. So I used a high pass to take out that low stuff. So it's just a little tighter of a sound. If I put it in my track, I'm not going to have to go in and grab an EQ and shape it out. I'm dealing with it here. And so as a result, I set my filters in parallel. I set them in serial and set the mix to mix 2. So it goes through this and we hear the out of mix 2. So that's what's going on there. And then the final step that I used, I messed with this. This is an interesting idea. If we turn it on, I'm only using one oscillator because I only need a square wave. I don't care about the other ones. But you may enjoy messing with the timbral options of the phase and ring modulation. If you want some more metallic sounds. I didn't want that. So I was like, nah, I'm good. And so after that, I settled on the last move, which was this frequency shifter. And I think I just left it at default, but you can mess with the different pitches. We could even put envelopes on this and maybe get something kind of cool. I'd be a little concerned about those high pitches. It'd be cool to have them in there, but not as intensely. Maybe something like this. And then to automate the pitch down with an envelope or something. But that's getting like, I already have a pretty interesting sound. I don't want to overdo it. And then an EQ. And let's see, did I do anything with the EQ? Nope. I turned it on and thought about doing something, but then I didn't do it. But anyways, those are some of the ideas that went into making this sound. Very cool sound. Let's load up the default, the one that I actually settled on. Yeah, very cool. Fun sound design. I spent forever with the envelopes just tweaking. You see, 2 is quite a bit longer. Getting all the timing of these 3 envelopes is probably the trickiest part of the patch. That's the hardest part. Once you have these down, you're solid. You just need a cool rhythm too. It's not like there's so many options, it's difficult to just pick one. But yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. Subscribe and have a blessed day.
In your mind, and you see the sign getting round, getting up and going down. Now you will see, and just you will be.